you were able to join. This is only going to be the first media spokesperson training, not the last. We're going to have a lot of these ongoing trainings directly to you all. For right now, as you all know, we're deep in the big three training. The big three contract fight. And so we're really excited to be here. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Dawn Lee. I'm with the CAP and Political and Government Affairs Department. If I can turn it over to our team who's joined us today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rayol from Region 2B. I handle the CAP and retired workers. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. I am Tina Sarrazin. I am the CAP coordinator for Region 1D. We're excited to help everybody out today.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am Becky Bridgewater. I'm an international rep from the Retired Workers Department at Solidarity House, and we welcome all of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. We really want to be able to, make sure that our members are ready. We're here. We work for you. So we want to make sure that you have everything you need to be not only, ready for the press to share your story, but to be confident and comfortable doing it. Okay. That's our motto. So I just want to, again, thank you, Becky, Tina, and Ray for joining us today and helping out. They're going to be taking your Q&A, they're going to be monitoring the Q&A and making sure that all the questions or comments you have, we're going to be making sure that we answer as many of them as possible. Please do not, because we're hoping that there's so much on the chat and Q&A traffic that I'm sure we won't be able to get back to you all. But please know we will get back to you as many as possible, even after this event. As I mentioned in the beginning, this is only the beginning of these trainings. Particularly, we know that we're going to have you ready to be able to speak to the press, but also to our elected officials, and to make sure that, it's not only Sean Fain out there, but all of you, and your voice is essential to making sure that when our stories about UAW and our big three fight includes you as well, okay? So if I can just go ahead and ask, how many of folks on the, first off, let's find out who else has been, where are we calling from here today? Where are we joining the Zoom from?
Yeah, Kokomo is in the house, Toledo Jeep.
Michigan Local 140.
Please type it in the Q&A, okay, folks? Tell us where you're from.
Indiana, 440.
Local 1700, Sterling Heights. Local 51 is ready to fight.
Local 249, 412.
Local 722. Oh.
Great.
Local 1097. Mopar, local 1248.
Woohoo, Arlington, Texas.
Local 31, Fairfax. Local 900, local 862. Livonia Transmission, home of the strike target.
Local 551, Ford Chicago Assembly Plant. That's right.
Yeah. Local 2164, Bowling Green.
Local 1264, KTP 862. Another Arlington 276.
Fort Wayne, Indiana, local 2309.
Looks like we got folks from Las Vegas, from the gaming union out there. Woo!
Yeah. Connecticut, local 376, local 22 in Detroit.
Local 1097, Rochester, New York. Local
600, MAP.
My home local is here. Local 862, from KTP.
Local 5960. 1302 from Kokomo.
So this is really exciting. We've got folks from everywhere. Folks, we just hit the 700 mark. This is so awesome. 24 hours notice, and you all have jumped on and made the most of this. We're really excited. So let's just go ahead and dive in, okay? How many here, again, answer in the Q&A in the open chat here, okay? How many folks here have done press before, have spoken to reporters and were part of news articles? Don't be shy. We know you aren't shy out there.
Gridiron says I have.
Malik,
Nice. Mhm,
Jackie
Jackie
Robinson.
Robinson,
mhm.
Derek Williams,
Danielle Comray.
Thomas Stone,
Renee, Marjorie Chambers, Shane,
Peter
Good.
Bohan. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Jason Fortella.
Julie from Local 228 in Sterling Heights has.
Awesome. Mhm.
Cincinnati 674 has.
Great.
Todd Turner, Local 863 has.
So Marcy from Local 551 said that she was on GMA this morning.
Good morning, America. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Love to hear it. So then we have a lot to learn from you as well. Okay. I want to make sure folks do not, this is not just about like a one-way training. Okay. We're going to all learn from each other. So let's make sure that, if there's things that you want to add to what we're saying, personal experiences, please put it into the open chat. And because we want to make sure that people are also learning from you all who are out there, whether it's in Chicago, Livonia, in Arlington, Vegas, wherever you're at in Toledo. Like you've all have the lived experiences that we want to make sure that are captured and included. Okay. So I want to just, again, I want to really thank folks. Not a lot of people usually sign up to be spokespeople. It's like a unique type of skill set, but also the courage to and the boldness and the confidence that you are out here representing your co-workers and yourselves. Because when you're speaking and you've got your UAW shirt on, it's not just about you, but that you're speaking on behalf of the million active and retiree members across the country. Okay, so I'm really excited. Again, let's just go ahead and jump in. Okay, today what we're going to talk about is about your personal story and how you share your lived experiences and what this means for you, your family, and your community, making sure that they hear from the frontline folks. It adds to the authenticity of what our fight really is about. And we're going to go over what to expect and how to present yourself, and then go over some do's and don'ts, and then we're going to save a lot of time for about your questions and learn from all of you about what your experience has been and what will be. Okay, and then I'll just say at the end we got a little bit of homework for everybody, so to be part of to continue this ongoing training. Okay, as many of you know, the members' demands, it's about eliminating tiers on wages and benefits, calling for wage increases that you all deserve, restoring COLA that has not been there since 2009 when you all accepted and made the huge sacrifice to save the auto industry. We want to, we believe that everyone should be able to retire with dignity with a defined benefit pension for all workers. We want to reestablish medical benefits for those who have retired. We want to be able to have the right to strike over plant closures. As you all know, in the last 20 years, the big three have closed or spun off 65 plants in the country. They didn't do it during the hardship years. They did it during the good times too. We want to protect the Working Family Protection Program, want to end the abuse of temp workers, and more time off to be with our families, and a significant increase for our retiree pay for our retirees. But my question to you is, what does all that mean? It sounds really like it's a laundry list for people. There's no real way of understanding that. But that's why it's so essential that all of you then become are highlighted. We put the spotlight on your personal stories, okay? And so we're going to go over telling your personal story. Who are you and how are you directly affected? What does this contract mean for you, your family, your community? What do you need people to do to show support? So those are the three crucial parts when we get ready to speak to a reporter. Sometimes, you get, you'll be able to, be prepared. You'll have advance notice. Somebody like Tina, Ray, Becky, or myself, or Jonah Furman, who's our communications director. They'll be able to call you and say, we have this reporter from such and such Herald. Name your, or the Chicago Tribune, or from CNN, and they'll be able to tell you what exactly that reporter is looking for, and they'll be able to share with you kind of like what are our best talking points. But as we all know, there's often times where you're at a rally, you're at an event, you're at a meeting, and someone just pulls you aside and it's like, hey, can you talk to this reporter? And the answer is, I want you to every time say yes, And so it's about making sure that you're ready, confident, and telling who you are. Right now, I'm sorry if, I know that we have folks who are also outside of the big three. Today's emphasis is mostly about the big three, given that we are 4 days out from Thursday's expiration. But so it's a heavy focus on just with our big three members, and I hope that's okay. Again, as I said earlier, this is not going to be our only and last media spokesperson training, just our first, okay? But we want to make sure, how is it that you're coming across? It's very important. Introduce yourself, how you want to be introduced. Like, even if you have a nickname. I have I met somebody who everyone in his plant knows him as Scooter. And so he introduced himself as such. And it's like, but that's how you want to, introduce yourself, and how long you've been working at your plant, what you do on the line. The truth is, most people don't know what it's like to be in an assembly plant. People don't know what casting is. People don't know that, people are like dealing with, you're the people who are dealing with flat sheets of fiberglass to be able to mold it into bumpers and then people don't know that you're the person who's laying out the dashboard. So like, it's really important to be able to speak about it in layman's terms, so that the person right next to you knows exactly what it is that, so they can recognize what it is that you do, okay? And especially, to give people the context and the history. It's not your job to know and report out and share what's happening at the table. Don't feel like you have to know all of those things. The percentages of the wage increase, we can provide that information for you, but that's not what the quote that they're going to get from Becky Bridgewater. They're not going to, they're looking for very personalized stories so that they can put a human face to all those things that we were just talking about, Like when we talk about the members' demands, we want to make sure that people know and feel that they can be able to, understand that when Tina shares why, if without COLA since 2009, how has that affected her and her family? What is she, taking that sacrifice, what did she and her family have to miss out on? What does it mean? So if our retirees aren't able to have, to be able to retire with dignity, like they want to have those personalized stories. So we want to be able to, for you to really put it out there and share, again, your lived experiences, okay? Let me just jump back ahead. And then the big question at the end is like, and so what? What is it that, why are we doing talking to these reporters, right? Because we want to build public support. We want to make sure that this is not just about us, but this is about our communities and what these jobs, good jobs, mean in these communities. So we want to make sure that we are, being able to expand and, for people's perspective of what this fight means and how our fight is also their fight. Are there anything that folks want to, Tina, Ray, or Becky, do you want to share?
I think it's really important when you're speaking and giving your story that it's heartfelt And it depends on who you're speaking to and when you're speaking to them about the situation and when they're going to pipe in and ask you questions and to give a presentation. We should all have our information in the back of our heads at a constant, but also remember where you are and what is going on when you give your statements to the media.
Yeah. Does someone want to share about what Tyler just wrote?
I do have Rob would like to know if there's anything specific that strike captains should be commenting about to the press or no.
I think when the time comes, we'll be able to have more information about it, to be honest. Knock on wood, we won't have to go on strike. But if we do, I know you all will be ready. But in terms of like being, sharing, I think it's really important for people to know, the basics of who, what, where, when, and why, right? So, who is going on strike and against who, right? So it's like GM workers, Ford workers, Stellantis, Jeep Wrangler, however way you all understand. It's, KTP, it's, GM Assembly, it's CAP in Chicagoland. So however, we want to be very explicit about like, who, not only who we are as UAW local, fill in your number, but also who we're striking against. And then like, what does it mean? There'll be times where many of us, there'll be actual picket lines in front of the plants. There'll also be, information picketing, informational canvassing. Like we'll be, we're going to be working with community groups to get build public support and making sure that there's educational, what did I hear today? Solidarity walks in front of events and where we can get in front of people. And so I think that, and then probably most important for strike captains is letting the press know when our pickets are happening and where they're happening. Because like, sometimes we know that we'll be doing, picketing as early as like say 5:30 in the morning, right? Or there'll be ones that happen late into the night, like 8:30, 10 p.m. at night. So it's really important for us to be able to share that information with reporters. And I think as strike captains, working with your local leaders, local presence, local communications folks, to be able to share that information. Mm-hmm.
I do have
we
a couple
don't
people.
Tyler,
Sorry. Sorry, I just do have a couple people asking if these slides are going to be available after the presentation, Dawn.
Whatever you need and more, okay? You tell me you need like broken down, point by point talking points. We will work with you directly. Get on the phone with you, get on a FaceTime or a Zoom just like this, and just have one-on-one conversations so to help you build your own personal stories, okay?
Lakeda asks, so I understanding correctly that it is okay to speak to the press if approached.
As long as you're there with your organizer and your local leadership says it's good, go ahead. But I would just say the reason is not necessarily to seek permission from your local leadership, but it's to coordinate, okay? We want to make sure that we're all speaking from the same song sheet. We're all singing from the same song sheet. So we want to make sure that what our local president has already said, that we can, help to reinforce and build upon, but also your personal story only adds to like more humanizing of the points that our leaders are also already saying to the press. So again, it's about coordinating and making sure that you are working in sync with your local leadership, okay?
Paul asked, we may be asked, so how central is the EV issue in terms of organizing the joint ventures as a logical next step?
EVs, I think that, there's various, experiences and perspectives when it comes to about electric vehicles, right? We do know that more cars more EVs are going to be made, and we want to make sure that auto workers who have been working for generations to win the pay and safety standards is spread across to all auto workers, whether you build a battery engine or if you build an ICE engine, you know? As I always tell reporters and our elected officials, our members, UAW members, don't give a damn whether it's an ICE car or if it's an electric battery car. What they care about is that they have the jobs to be able to provide for their families and to thrive in their communities. That's what matters. And that's what we're fighting for, is the pay and safety standards for all of our auto workers across the country.
I do want to also recognize that we do have some SAG and AFTRA folks on with us today. So shout out to them, and we stand with you.
Wonderful. As we do with you, all the way to the, you know, until we all have new contracts for all of us.
Brian asked, while I'm all for talking to the press, the managers won't be able to come after us, right?
That's why you have a union, right? Is that right, Tina?
That is right. And just remember, when you talk to the press, your opinion and your information is going out there. So sometimes your own personal opinion about a situation might be better toned down so that your story is actually what's focused and people can relate to.
Because that's what we're doing this for, right? Is that, you know, historically, right, folks, we know that in this country, there was a bad branding campaign against auto workers as being greedy, being, you know, overpaid. But, you know, right now we are, because of your work over the last 2 decades, the perception of auto workers in this country, recently in a Gallup poll, 75% of Americans said that they are on your side. They are on the side of UAW on this contract fight against the big three corporations, because you have convinced them, you have persuaded them that not only is your fight their fight, but that they can see themselves within your struggles and your and what our issues are.
So Don, Cheryl's concerned about job security and future product, because like her and many other people I know from like 11-12, you know, they shut the plant and all them people had to move across the country to different jobs. Many had to leave their family at Lordstown, you know, to go and provide for their families, which caused very much hardship on themselves, on their children. So she is hoping for some job security in this contract coming up. And she will speak to that as her person when she shares her story.
That's wonderful. And that's exactly what people need to hear, right? Right now, it's a tenuous time for all workers in this country. We know, you know, you hear Sean Fain say it all the time. It's about these billionaires who think that they run the world, and or if they're not satisfied running the world here, they're going to the moon, right? So like, we want to make sure that, you know, your story about job security is something that everyone relates to, and all the more reason. I'm very excited that, you know, I'm very glad that that's how you want to approach your talking points, your personal story, to relate so that others can relate to you.
Don J. Du Bois says that he has Dave Jameson, labor reporter from the HuffPost, who wants to interview him at Local 245, and he's asking for any insights.
Yeah.
I would say talk to your president and sit down with your president before you do an interview with him to see, or have your president there with you by chance, or somebody from your executive board. Yeah.
Dave Jameson's a good friend of labor. So, but I do agree with Tina. Please reach out to your, you know, your point of contact within the your local union, and coordinate it. Again, coordination. We're not asking, you know, it's not about permission. It is coordination, because we want to make sure that, again, we are singing from the same song, same music sheet. So it's like essential that we know what others have already said to Dave Jameson. I will just say this: Dave Jameson talks to a lot of workers, and again, good friend of labor. But let's make sure that all of us are in sync with ourselves before we project it out there. Okay.
Yeah, I had a similar question from Chris Dawson.
Mhm.
Should we direct questions to the local if we are alone or uncomfortable talking to the press? So
Absolutely.
I would recommend absolutely, if you don't feel comfortable talking on a subject, please contact your president and they'll help you out with that.
Mhm.
We have a lot of questions in the chat about
Mhm.
getting rid of tiers and about what's going on in bargaining itself. And for an update on the actual bargaining itself, where you want to see, President Fain will be doing a Facebook Live on Wednesday. So keep watch on Facebook for more information to come on that. Our job today is not to answer bargaining questions, but we can certainly pass on information.
Mhm. Yeah. And if folks can tune in, to Sean's Facebook Live from Friday night. If you go onto the UAW Facebook page and or our YouTube channel at UAW, you'll be able to see the most recent Facebook Live with Sean, where he gives a pretty thorough update. Good information, good stuff there. Again, we're trying to do everything a little different this time, being as transparent and upfront with you all, because this is your fight. This is our fight together. And so you need to know everything that's happening as we know it too. Anything else?
We have some questions about the GMCH and the CCAs. There's a lot of questions going on that a lot of people don't understand what the difference is for them compared to GM. If somebody could touch that, that's not my area.
Yeah, I'm going to ask if you please could, on issues like that, questions like that. Again, we're focusing on about media spokesperson, getting you ready with your personal story, sharing about so that other people can relate and be able to show there's public support for us. We need to build that up, right? So any questions people have specifically about that, please connect with your negotiating team and or your local leaders, okay? And again, as Tina said, Sean's going to be having, several different Facebook Lives this coming week, okay? As we know, 4 days out, folks.
So Patrick, I'm not sure what local you're from, was advised, and your strike committees could advise you too, that if you are out on a picket line and you are approached, to refer to your strike captain. So there will be different directions coming from your locals itself and the regions. So please try to be aware of that as well. It's important to follow the protocol that your locals have set up as well.
You really here today focusing on what's your personal story. Let's say, you are already at that point to talk to the reporter. We're just going to say, like, we're going to go a little bit into like what to expect, right? Like, hey, Skelly, can you go ahead and put all of us on the, I'm going to stop the screen sharing and we're going to just like do this.
Somebody, Chris Dawson asked, GM Local 160 Warren, Michigan, should we direct questions to the local if we are alone or near anyone from the local or international?
I'm sorry, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
If they're outside alone and there's somebody close by, this is my interpretation, and they don't feel comfortable, should they tell people to go to the local, to their president or to wherever? Yes.
Of course. If you don't feel never do anything that you are uncomfortable about. This is like, there are times, part of getting the spokesperson training is also knowing when to talk. There's moments where we don't have to have a statement for everything, okay? It's about our objective as a spokesperson and to do any of this media outreach is to build public support. And I'm sorry, I guess I should have like taken a step back. I should have like really outlined that the reason why it's so important for us to make sure that we tell our own stories so that we're not defined by others. We want to make sure that people know who we are, who your life experiences impact what's at stake here. And so when we can't let I'll just say we can't let the opposition be able to define who we are and what our fight is about, because it's uniquely yours. And only you can tell what your personal story is. Talk about how it affects your daughter, like for you to be able to be at home with them, to be able to spend time, family time, what it means that you're able to provide for them. And that you also know that how hard this job is and the toll it takes on your bodies. Like those are the type of experiences that only you can tell.
Yeah, like Melissa
Dawn,
King.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, Melissa, just to point on that, Melissa King commented how her mom and her have worked for Chrysler. Her mom has had to have 4 neck surgeries and she's had 1. That's great, information to put out there and to tell your personal stories and history and how, there is no work-life balance and how your health physically and mentally is affected by, putting in all of this work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I had a story from a question from Camille Hefty, a good question. How should we record our videos if that's what you want, and where do we send them?
Mm-hmm. So it's wonderful that you should ask that. So everyone here, we're asking for homework. We're going to give you homework, okay? So we want everybody's got a smartphone these days, or an iPad, or some tablet that they can do and record themselves. We're asking for a 30 to 60-second video of yourselves. If it's a little longer, that's okay. It'll give us a chance to get to know you even better. All I ask is please don't record over 5 minutes, okay? Because if we're gonna have you talk 5 minutes into a screen, let's just get on the phone and talk to each other and get to know each other for real, okay? But if we can, we'd like to ask folks to please record a 30, 60-second, even a 2-minute video of yourself, okay? Tell us what your personal story is, what this contract means for you. And we're going to send this out in an email afterwards, to remind you what are the various components. So, and we'll include the email. So can somebody type in the email address that we need? uawdc@uaw.net. So after you're done with your video, send the video over, whether it's an actual link or if it's an actual video, MP3, MP4. Just go ahead and send it over to uawdc@uaw.net.
Jay made a comment on here that is very true. We've said it multiple times, but also remember, you don't have to talk to the press. You could say the wrong things. You can always say no comment if you feel you might say something incorrect. Sometimes silence is better when the press is asking instigating questions. They could be baiting you. So yes, you always have to be very careful and very aware of your situation when you are answering questions and your stories to not be baited. That's where sometimes your personal opinion over your story is when you have to be very careful.
Again, no one's going to question your personal story, okay?
Right.
Like, I think it's so crucial that, again, Ray's life experience, Tina's life experience, Becky's life experience is different than my life experience. But all of us are here in the same fight, just like all of you are. So I really want to be able to emphasize, it's not only about your opinions, no offense, but everybody has an opinion about things. That's not what the reporter, should have to cover. We are united more than ever before. And so our perspective, our opinion as a union speaks for itself right now. But what it is that you're doing is helping to amplify and give context and humanize why we're in this fight. Your personal story, goes back to that list of all of our members' demands. Your personal story, your personal experience explains and gives context to why those demands are so important. Okay? And
Heather has a question, very valid one. Mm-hmm. Can we get in trouble from the company for posting on Facebook?
Don't lie about the company. If you even think that it could be something to get in trouble, don't do it. It's a Facebook post. Doesn't matter enough. It does not worth it.
Common sense.
Question, in our video, should we wear red UAW logos or just start plain street clothes?
Combination of both. Do both, okay? Because we want, just because we all love red, but and it shows our solidarity. But I also want folks to, be able to see, oh, she's just somebody who's coming who works in a plant too. Like, we want to show that your real authentic self. Because if you like to wear flowery tops, if you like golf shirts, whatever it is that you should express your own personality as well, okay, and your good taste.
There was a question in the comments asking if there'll be yard signs available for the community to put out in their lawns and to support striking workers, or us in general.
Yes, there will be.
We have one question. Are there any organizations that we should avoid, or groups we should just avoid?
I'm going to say I'm going to defer that one to your local leaders. Work with your local leaders on that one. Fox News can be troublesome at the national level, but not necessarily at the local level. I have found that Fox News at the local level seem to have the most the best coverage of our stories oftentimes. So I think, again, reach out to your local leaders to find out how to make sure that you're not wasting your time. Okay. And we've got like 2 more minutes, folks. We're hitting up the 45-minute hour of the hour. And I just want to make sure that any last questions we have.
We had somebody ask how, if they're asked about politics and candidates, how they should answer that question.
Can I say, coming soon to a training for you, okay? We're going to be focusing on that. Today, we're going to be focusing on the big 3 negotiations, especially for the next 4 days, but likely, worker action that may happen. I really hope, folks, Friday next week, that on the 15th, we are celebrating. If not, we want to show, no matter what, we want folks to know UAW has power, okay?
I think one of the last questions that's a good one is how to handle a reporter that's baiting or hostile.
Walk away. We have no obligations and we have no reason to deal. It is not our job to interact in a combative way. It doesn't nobody any good. Remember, you're there. Your personal story is to help represent all of UAW in our fight for justice for workers, okay?
And then we have a question. I just got off the road. Where can I find a replay of this?
We're going to be on YouTube and Facebook Live. So,
and Chris is also wondering, when is the next training?
There'll be one next week as well. Oh, I'm sorry. There's going to be one on Tuesday. There's going to be another training on Tuesday, to prepare for a possible strike.
Somebody wants to know if we have artistic freedom with signs if we make our own.
Again, we want to encourage homemade signs as well. Please coordinate. The emphasis is coordinate with your local leadership to make sure that we're all on the same page, okay?
Another question, do you want videos from the community supporters as well, or only UAW members? Everybody
who's on our side. I want videos from elected officials to stake their ground that they're going to be on the side of UAW members. I want people, small business owners. You've got, your neighbor, people who drive a Ford Bronco, people who drive a Silverado, whatever it is, that I want them to be able to say, you know what, I'm on the side of workers.
Somebody was a videographer and just asked if he has permission to videotape our members and then put them on social media himself.
As long as he has the permission of the members.
For Tuesday's training, Dawn, will there be another registration link sent like this one?
Yes, there will be. Tune into your emails tomorrow, okay? There'll be emails and text messages about it tomorrow.
Somebody said, I thought the legal department doesn't want homemade signs.
Coordinate with your local leadership, okay? I'm going to have a homemade sign because I'm coordinating with my local leadership. Mm-hmm.
Somebody else said, make sure the signs are appropriate. If you wouldn't show it to your neighbor's grandmother, don't have it on the picket line. That's very good advice.
Do not show your ass, folks. Come on. We are professionals. Have a bigger fight here. Let's not make asses of ourselves, okay? I'm just going to be very blunt about that. We have to show our best selves and shine because this fight is so just and it is our fight to have. This is really, when Sean says it, this is our defining moment. We are determining this contract will lay the groundwork for future auto workers and all American workers in this country. A lot is at stake here. Mm-hmm.
When you go to make your own sign, I would highly suggest write it out on a piece of paper, set it down for an hour, come back and look at it again and see if it's how it affects you or somebody else that's there. Watch your language. You know, the strike and our information that goes out is very important, but we also are respected members of our community, and we need to remember that when we participate in strikes, pickets, and signs.
Yeah.
And Dawn, is there a due date for the videos? I know we want them ASAP, but is there a cutoff or people should just send them?
Can people please send them in in the next 48 hours?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Don't overthink it, folks. It's going to take, it should take 2 minutes. And if anything, maybe, 2 takes. Okay. That's it. You're beautiful people. You're confident people. And, you know your story best. Okay. No one else can tell your story. So let it shine. Okay. So on that note, I just want to say, thank you again to everybody. I know this was a little bit non-traditional training. It's more of a talk with each other. I'm hoping to, both Tina, all of us, Tina, Ray, Becky, and I, and as well as the rest of our CAP department and our government affairs team, we're going to be reaching out to all of you, and making sure that, we have as many of our members, leaders, spokespeople ready and confident for the fight ahead. Okay. Again, please get your videos in. This is homework, folks, because we're going to be, compiling your information so that we know when MSNBC calls and says that they need to talk to somebody from the Wentzville Assembly or from, I'm sorry, I just blanked out, Spring Hill, or from Buffalo, that we are able to send your information. Of course, we will contact and work with you directly, your local leaders, to make sure that you are ready and have everything you need to be to present your best self. Okay.
I'm going to give one last shout out because Christy said this fight is bigger than just the big 3. We set the standard, and she's right on.
Mm-hmm. It's because of UAW. We've held the line. That's why we've been able to deliver and create the working class in this country. Anything else? I want to thank all of you for being part of this afternoon. Again, we're going to have more of these. Thank Tina, Becky, Ray, and of course, Chris Skelly, our audiovisual guy who's making us look so great. So thank you so much, all.